Now today we are looking at the Remedies playing cards by Daniel Madison and Daniel Snyder. Now if you want to pick them up, you can get them for 15% off down in the description below, and we're here to review them today. So, if you want to see reviews every single Wednesday, this is the place to be. It's what I do. That's what this channel is all about. Every single Wednesday, there's a new deck review coming for you, so you guys can know what to buy and how to spend your money wisely, and to see some really freaking cool playing cards. So, if you haven't already, subscribe and ring the bell so you get notified when those videos drop. Smash that like button, and let's get into this review of the Remedies playing cards right now. Now, for the outside of the tuck box, you're going to see a feather and a rose. Now, the rose is more for the black roses. It's the same exact rose that's used on that deck by Daniel Snyder, and the feather is more for Daniel Madison. Now, both of the sides of the tuck box are completely blank. The bottom of the tuck box has ad copy for Daniel Madison and Snyder, saying Remedies and USPCC ad copy, which means it will handle fantastically, because USPCC is always the best place to print through. The top of the tuck box says Madison and Snyder with their logo again, and honestly, I really wish it said Daniel or Daniel, like Daniel and Daniel, or Daniel squared, or I think that they could have made something really fun with that, considering they're both named Daniel. Having Madison and Snyder, like, I understand they're two different people, but I think it would have been pretty cool. And the back of the tuck box is just the back design. The inside tuck flap says we cannot recover from who we are, which is something I disagree with. Honestly, I think we can recover from who we are. I think that's what makes Christ so great. Like, we can be changed, we can transform, we can become a new person. Like it literally says you are a new creation. There's only 3 ways people change. You learn enough that you want to, you get hurt enough that you have to, or you find Jesus Christ. Like, that's... Now you know how to change. So, I disagree with this. The 2 inside tuck flaps say D:M and D:S for Daniel Madison and Daniel Snyder, obviously. Now the inside of the tuck box is all blank, so now let's take a look at the cards. Now first we have the back design, which is just the logo inverted on both sides, which makes it a 2-way back design of the feather and the rose. It is a deep, deep red with a white border, about a medium border. And honestly, it makes it really simplistic, fantastic for Magic and cardistry. Personally, I think it leans a little bit toward Magic, if I were to say one way, but I'm going to get into that later in the video. We do have duplicate jokers in this deck, with Daniel Madison's bird holding the Daniel Snyder rose, saying the Joker at the bottom in all black and white. Now, before I get into the rest of the cards, the order is also slightly different. So normally you have the 2 jokers, then you have Ace of Spades through King of Spades, then you have Ace of Diamonds through King of Diamonds, then you start from the King and work back to the Ace, and then you have King back to the Ace and your extra 2 ad cards, right? So it goes Ace to King, Ace to King, King to Ace, King to Ace. This deck, on all 4 suits, goes Ace to King, Ace to King, Ace to King, Ace to King, which I actually think is kind of cool. I've always wondered why they didn't just do it that way, and now we actually finally someone who did it, so well done. All of your black cards are going to be completely industry standard, except for, as you saw, the pips are a little bit pointier at the top on the spades, and the hearts and diamonds are again industry standard. Now first we have our spades, all of which have been customized. Now the faces they're on faces, and the Queen of Spades has a 4 of Hearts reveal, and they're only using the red and the black. The yellows and blues have all been taken out. Here are the hearts, which have all been customized as well. Here are the clubs, which have all been customized, and 2 of the diamonds, and I'll get to that third in a second, but both of these have been customized as well. Now before we get to that King of Diamonds, I'm going to show you the 3 aces. And it does make sense that this is a very simplistic way of doing it, but as you guys know, I do prefer it usually to be a little bit more above everything else. Like court cards, aces, ace of spades, like have a little bit of an elevation there. I think they did remedy it though with the fact that it is a very simplistic design, and the fact that it's a very simplistic aces. So it's simplistic throughout the whole deck. If everything else was customized more than just the normal, then I think that would have been more sense to also customize the aces. But since everything is simplistic, I think that they did a good job. The first of the King of Diamonds is the Daniel Snyder version, where he has back palmed one side and is doing a 2 of diamonds reveal on the other. And the other is the Daniel Madison King of Diamonds with a back palmed on one side and the 9 of clubs reveal on the other. And then, of course, for your Ace of Spades, there's 2 of them. Now, both of the faces are the same. They both say, we cannot recover from who we are, and say Madison and Snyder remedies with a big red pip in the center, and the bottoms are a little bit more flatline, and it's kind of an odd shape, but although the shape's not my favorite, it does look very luxury. But the backs of the 2 Ace of Spades are different, and here's what I mean by that. The one has a completely normal back to the deck. Like, this Ace of Spades is completely normal, and that's the one that you see first. It'll go 2 jokers, and then this one. The other one is this extra card with an Ace of Clubs tear-off on the back. So you have the standard face, just like the other one, completely duplicate, but then you have a torn corner on the back of that one. Which I'm not sure why they use the Ace of Spades to do the tear on the back, because usually, like, I'm a person who wouldn't want to ruin my Ace of Spades. Like, if I have extra remedies decks and I'm going to do a torn or restored trick, or you tear the corner, and like, so many tricks you can do with this stuff, but if I'm going to tear a card, I really don't like tearing the Ace of Spades, because that's usually a fun card to keep. It just didn't make much sense to me. Now, how does this deck faro? Because a lot of decks faro fantastic, some decks faro crappy, and some decks faro great on one side and not on the other. So, does this deck faro well? Who should buy it? How does it feel? You want to know all these questions just in case you want to buy the deck. So, I'm here to answer it for you. Let's get into it right now. From bottom to top, the answer is clearly yes. And from top to bottom, once again, a yes for remedies. Quick intermission for the fans. This being a fan of the faces, and this being a fan of the backs. And honestly, I'm a fan of how it fans. And hallelujah, the sides are smooth. You don't have to worry about getting a freaking paper cut on the paper, because it's smooth. It doesn't feel like you're rubbing your hands on sandpaper every time you do cardistry. It comes in smooth. Now this deck definitely has a more crisp and less of a buttery feel. There's really like 2 ways to go. There's the middle of the line, and then there's the 2 ways. You have the crisp side and you have the buttery side. This side definitely, this deck right here, goes to the crisp side. You have a lot more snap to it, feels fantastic, a little bit more middle of the line or a little bit thicker if I were to lean one way, but it really is pretty much in the middle. Feels fantastic though, super easy to fan. The stock and finish on this is honestly phenomenal. I wouldn't change it for the world. Okay, maybe for the world, but like, I wouldn't change it if I were making the deck. Now, if you're a magician, I would definitely pick this deck up. It's really suited for magician, and pun intended, suited. I need to stop explaining my jokes. Either way, it's definitely suited for magicians because, one, it's very simplistic. It doesn't have a ton going on like a lot of crazy cardistry decks do, like let's say the Superfly Spitfires. There's a lot going on. Definitely not really a card, like more of a cardistry deck. It's more of a minimalistic design. Now, some complex designs can be used for Magic, like let's say Mint playing cards. That's another duh, right? So you can have simplistic and complex, but this one definitely more for Magic. It has that really nice medium white border. Again, definitely more Magic heavy, and all of the pips and indices are industry standard. Everything is really easily recognizable at the snap of a finger, so the spectator doesn't have to wonder what they're actually looking at. So definitely, if you're a magician, pick this deck up. Plus, it has the one add card that helps for certain magic effects, and the duplicate jokers, which help as well. The reveal on both King of Diamonds and the Queen of Spades just makes it completely magic-oriented. I think that cardists can use it. I don't think it's really suited for cardists. Like, I don't really think that's where they're envisioning a bunch of cardists buying this deck. But I think that cardists can use it. I think cardists can use just about any deck. I think there are some decks that I wouldn't use if I were a cardist. I kind of dabble in cardistry a little bit, but for the most part, I would still use this deck for cardistry though. But it just doesn't have really anything that like, oh, that would look fantastic. I mean, for packet cuts, I mean, the white border is going to make it look good, and when you're doing anything with rotations, the fact that there's something on both top and bottom, again, is going to look great. But it's just not really suited for cardistry. I think collecting is definitely a 100% I would pick it up. One, Daniel Madison and Daniel Snyder, they have their own lines that just go crazy on both sides. So many decks from both of them. So if you like collecting all Daniel Madison or Daniel Snyder, I would definitely pick this up for that collection. If you just like cards that are really cool, pick it up. Simplistic designs, or really anything that you would just like, oh, that's a deck I would want to put in a card case. This is a deck you would want to put in a card case. So if you're a collector, pick this deck up. And gameplay, as I usually say for most decks that I review here on the channel, it definitely works, but I'd be hesitant because I wouldn't want people who don't know how to handle cards the right way, like we magicians and cardists do, I wouldn't want them to play with this deck. It's too valuable for me. So it works. It's really easily identifiable. You know what the cards are. You can just pick up your hand, know what you have. But at the same time, I wouldn't want someone like my little sister playing with it. Like, she's almost 10, but like, that's still a bit much. She ruins everything. I love her to death, but holy cow. She was outside and just boom, there went her glasses by the lawnmower. Boom. Yep. Next time you get glasses, there with the dog chewing on them. Boom. Next time you get glasses, dog chews on them and then gets hit by the like. Some people just don't need to handle cards like we handle cards. We handle them with care, unless we're at some jam session. Like, for real, it's just what it is. So gameplay, if you really love the cards, probably not the deck. Keep them to yourself. But that's really all I can say about the Remedies playing cards. And if you want to pick them up for 15% off, you can get them down in the description below with my discount code. You're welcome. So if you haven't already, subscribe, ring the bell, give this video a thumbs up. And question of the day, how thick do you like your borders if you like them? So if you like borders, let me know. Like super thin, medium, super thick, or give me a freaking borderless deck. What are you doing? Let me know down in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. This is Card Perfect, signing off. And now, of course, you guys know what time it is. It's time to have a new top 100 decks. Now, got a new top 100, and you have to wait till my birthday in November to see which 100 decks are going to be in there all the way then. So we're probably going to have a lot of stuff changing out at the end of every single Wednesday. So, seriously, you're in the right place if you want to see what 100 decks are going to be the top 100 at the end of 2020. And every year is going to be changing. So you have to keep on coming back. So, you'll have to be subscribed for the real time, double time, Card Perfect signing off.